I came home after 4 months in Idaho to find my gate hanging like a broken promise. The left hinge was twisted outward, steel screaming from the strain. I had built that gate myself 2 summers ago, drilling post holes in rocky Montana soil until my shoulders burned, setting the timbers with a level that never quite stayed true. It wasn't pretty, but it was mine, and it had held. Until now. My name is Dale Whitaker. 58 years old, retired logger, widower, and the owner of 5 acres outside Bozeman that I bought cash at county auction to build a cabin and forget the smell of sawdust and divorce papers. I left in December for a contract job, came back in April. The land looked the same, pines leaning into the wind, the small lake catching sky like a mirror, but the silence was wrong. Too complete, like the forest was holding its breath. I walked the gravel drive slow, boots crunching, eyes cataloging. The bunkhouse sat untouched, generator canvas still tied tight. But the clearing where I'd stacked 40 custom-milled lodgepole logs, $40,000 of dreams, was bare. Just a perfect rectangle of crushed gravel where the weight had pressed for months. Loader tracks cut deep toward the tree line, wide and deliberate. Not deer, not weather. Machinery. Someone had come with equipment and taken what wasn't theirs. I knelt, ran my fingers over the impressions. The cuts were fresh, maybe 2 weeks. I found a pine splinter curled like a question mark, sap still tacky. My mark, DW followed by 5 digits, burned into every end grain at the mill. I had watched them do it, the iron glowing orange, the smell of sweet smoke rising. Proof. Ownership. A promise that these logs were mine to build my life with. The cameras were dead. Wires clipped clean at the junction box. Not chewed, not frayed. Cut. I stood there a long time, wind pushing at my back, and felt something cold settle in my gut. Not panic. Recognition. I'd seen this before in 30 years of logging. Claims jumped, corners cut, men who thought the forest belonged to whoever could haul it away fastest. But this was my land. My future. My word against theirs. I called Sheriff Tom Grady. He arrived in under 2 hours, cruiser kicking dust. Young for the job, maybe 35, but his eyes were older. He walked the site without speaking, measuring tracks with a tape, photographing the gate, the box, the empty pad. Heavy equipment, he said finally. Flatbed, probably. They knew your schedule. I nodded. They knew more than that. He looked at me sharp. Meaning this wasn't random. Someone watched me leave. Someone knew exactly when to strike. Tom wrote it down, then met my eyes. We'll investigate. But Dale, without plates or witnesses. He didn't finish. He didn't need to. Out here, things disappeared into the pines and stayed gone. I thanked him, watched him drive off, then went to the bunkhouse and started building a case the way I'd once built fences, post by post, solid and straight. 3 days later the letter arrived. No stamp, hand-delivered under cover of night. Silver Creek Homeowners Association. Lydia Brooks, president. The paper smelled like new ink and old lies. It claimed my logs were illegally harvested from protected community forest and had been reclaimed for public benefit. $40,000 of my timber now sat in their evaluation yard, pending review. Failure to comply would result in liens, fines, possible seizure of the entire parcel. I read it twice, then laughed, the kind that starts in your gut and comes out hollow. They weren't just stealing. They were rewriting the story. I was the poacher. They were the heroes. I folded the letter neat, slipped it into a manila folder labeled evidence, and drove to town. The county clerk confirmed what I already knew. My 5 acres sat clean outside any HOA boundary. But Lydia had filed a boundary clarification 3 weeks after I left for Idaho, signed by her cousin at the planning desk. The map showed my land folded into Silver Creek like a paper crane. Forgery wrapped in bureaucracy. I hired Sarah Klein, the only attorney in Bozeman who scared insurance companies. She listened without blinking, spread my documents across her desk like a poker hand. They didn't steal logs, she said. They committed conversion, trespass, fraud. We sue the HOA, Lydia personally, and the county for negligence. Emergency injunction to freeze everything. We filed that afternoon. The retaliation came fast. My insurer froze my claim, pending third-party dispute. The building supply yard canceled my lumber delivery, HOA hold-on permit. Social media exploded with posts about environmental criminal Dale Whitaker poaching protected timber. Neighbors I'd never met called me a blight. I didn't argue online. I documented every post, every email, every canceled order. Sarah added defamation to the suit. Then came the midnight raid. My phone buzzed at 12:17, motion sensors. For figures in Silver Creek, vests cut the new chain, hauled bolt cutters toward the bunkhouse. I watched on the monitor, heart steady. They expected an empty farm. They found lights, cameras, and me waiting with a shotgun across my lap and Sarah on speed dial. Sheriff Grady arrived with 3 deputies before they touched the door. Lydia's nephew Kyle froze mid-step, paint can in hand. Marcus Reed, her security chief, reached for his waist, unregistered pistol. The deputies had him face down in gravel before he cleared leather. Lydia arrived 10 minutes later, screaming about community rights. The cuffs silenced her. Discovery was a bloodbath. Lydia's emails. Move the logs before he returns. Plant survey stakes to justify reclamation. Bank records. $38,000 in consulting fees to the county clerk. Kyle's phone. Texts bragging about the easy score. The pavilion at Silver Creek? Built with my logs, my burn marks visible in daylight. The judge dissolved Silver Creek HOA, ordered $150,000 restitution, and referred Lydia for criminal theft. She took a plea. 2 years probation, full repayment, permanent ban from any board. Marcus got 18 months. The clerk lost her job and pension. I rebuilt the gate stronger, painted it barn red, and hung a sign, private property. Respect it or meet the sheriff. 6 months later, my cabin stands finished, lodgepole walls glowing honey gold, my mark on every beam. Neighbors stop by with pie, not fines. The land breathes easy again. But let's back up. It started with the land itself. 5 acres of rocky slope and pine, bought for $38,000 at auction after the old owner died without heirs. The county called it reclamation eligible, code for nobody wanted it. I did. I saw the lake, the ridge, the way the morning light hit the water like a promise. I saw a place to build something that would outlast me. I spent the first month clearing brush, grading the drive, sinking fence posts. The soil was thin, the rocks stubborn, but I worked sunrise to sunset. My hands blistered, then calloused. My back ached, then strengthened. I slept in the bunkhouse with a propane heater and a battery lantern, eating chili from a can and dreaming of walls that would keep the wind out for good. The logs were the heart of it. I drove to the mill in Livingston, picked the trees myself, lodgepole from high elevation, dry growth, no knots. I watched them cut, plane, and burn my mark into every end grain. DW 22001 through DW 22040. 40 logs, $40,000, 40 reasons to believe in tomorrow. I left for Idaho in December because the money was good and the cabin could wait. I locked the gate, tarped the generator, and told the land I'd be back by spring. I didn't know spring would bring thieves wearing community vests. The first sign was the gray Ford. It parked at my gate 3 days after I returned, driver swapping shifts. I noted plates, snapped pics, old habits. Week 4, Lydia rolled up in pearls and linen, clipboard like a sword. Mr. Whitaker, Silver Creek requires inspection. Your chickens violate odor codes. Barn color non-compliant. 47 infractions. I leaned on the fence, watering can in hand. Ma'am, 3 miles east. Wrong township. She smiled ice. Jurisdiction expanded. 5-mile radius. Pay $4,800 or lean start. Marcus Tate, her security chief, flanked her, eyes scanning my 14 cameras. Nice setup, he grunted. For a farmer. I smiled back. For a man who knows when he's being watched. She blinked. I turned, walked away. That night, fines arrived. $25,000 total, due in 7 days, or eviction. Social media smeared me. Drug farm threatens kids. Neighbors texted support. I filed with attorney Sarah Klein, cease and desist, certified. Escalation hit Tuesday. 3 SUVs blocked my drive. Marcus led 8 in vests, dog straining leash. Open up. Public nuisance. No warrant, no entry. Bolt cutters flashed. I dialed 911 on speaker. Threatened by HOA militia. Sirens wailed distant. They retreated, but Marcus spat. We'll be back. That night, text from Tom's burner. Tonight. Stay visible. Don't interfere. 12:15 a.m. Gate crashed. Marcus painted cameras, streaming live. Barn doors splintered. Evidence seals gleamed under their lights. What the? Kyle yelped. Floodlights. SWAT. Chopper. Tom's voice. Federal site. Down. Marcus drew. Dot on chest. Lydia's Escalade spiked. Cuffs everywhere. Lydia howled. Sovereign authority. Dawn tally. 12 zip tied. Lydia's laptop unlocked. Spreadsheets. 217 victims. $68 million profit. Marcus flipped. Bonuses per eviction. Kyle. She said plant weed if needed. Trials. Lydia 22 years. You weaponized bylaws into terror. Marcus 8. Susan 5. Dorsey Act. HOAs audited yearly. Entry felonious. Now. Cabin rises. Lodgepole walls honey gold. My mark on every beam. School kids 10 coops. Gate sign. Respect the line. Sarah sues 3 more HOAs. Tom visits Sundays. Beers on porch. Peace earned. What about you? Ever faced a clipboard tyrant rewriting your rights? Ever drawn a line in the dirt and held it? Share below. Where do you stand when bullies hide behind rules? When injustice wears a smile? Your story matters. I read every one.